Evening, everybody. It's your man. This is one I said the other day that I was going to do. Right. This was I said the other day I was going to do it, and yes, I've got a drink. As somebody questioned me about the other day, because this again is a very personal one. This is about self-harm. It's about mental health. It's about self-harm. It's about suicide. It's about depression. But predominantly, it's going to be about self-harm. Right. So those that know me know I have a pattern of behaviour. Right? And that pattern of behaviour started a long time ago. So hang on a minute. Oh, Bill again. Tell her I sit down my road. So those that know me know that I've got a pretty mad head. Hence on here, on my other socials, I call myself Man. And the books that I've written, they're all called Madman Returns. Now I've gone through the system. I've self-harmed. I've attempted suicide. In fact, once I actually committed suicide, only to be dragged out of the river Humber and brought back to life in a hospital with tubes and wires and injections into me, right? And the doctor turned around to me and said, "Oh, I've saved your life." And I went, "No, you haven't." I said, "All you've done is prolong the pain." And he said, "What do you mean?" So I've saved your life. I said, "Nah." I said, if I was in a car crash or a motorbike crash and I was, say, knocked unconscious or put into a coma, I said, if it was non-intentional and you saved me or you brought me back to life, that saved me. I said, but I walked out into the Humber because I wanted to die. And he was like, "No, you didn't." And I'm like, "You don't know what I wanted." And that's the whole point. You can't explain a suicidal feeling to somebody that doesn't understand it. If you're lucky enough not to understand what a suicidal feeling is and to be at the point of attempting suicide, then think yourself lucky. So anyway, so I had this discussion with this doctor and I ended up getting sectioned and whatever. Went to a place called Tickle at Donny, just outside Donny. But anyway, so there's I wrote about it a bit back. There's 3 steps in this process. When you've got depression or you've got a mental health issue, whether it's borderline, whether it's bipolar, whether it's schizophrenia, whether it's antisocial personality disorder, whether it's whatever, right? And you start going down this route of just not being able to win. Not being able to win a battle. And I mean a battle with yourself every single day. Not being able to win. I kind of know about it, there's 3 or 4 stages. It might even be about 7 by the time I finish explaining it. So the stages are this, right? You start to feel either really manic and like you're not in contact with it, with this earth, with this planet, or you feel manically depressed and you just want to be away from this planet. The next step, and the thing with self-harm is, or the theses behind self-harm, and I'm going to get to different variations of self-harm very soon. But the thesis with self-harm is you can't have 2 feelings. So you can't have a physical feeling and a mental feeling at the same time. So if your head's fucked and people cut, then the theory is that sudden sharp shot of cutting shuts this mental bit off. But I'm going to get to different points in a minute. And then after that, you've got a feeling of wanting to cut too far, but you don't really want to die. You don't really want to be suicidal, but you just want to take it a little inch, a little millimetre, one little cut, right? And if you know, I'm not going to go into detail, but if you know there's one certain way of of attempted suicide when you're cutting, and there's many, many ways that don't. And then the next stage, so there's 5, 4 or 5, whatever. Right, and the next stage is, you don't want to be on this planet. Right, I'll go into suicide again, or suicidal thoughts, suicidal feeling. I'll go into them again on another video. This one I want to concentrate, I want to try and give you an insight into somebody that self-harms. So it goes like this. Nowadays, because it's been highlighted in so many teen soaps like Hollyoaks, or adult soaps like EastEnders, Coronation Street, Emmerdale, whatever. Emmerdale did a really great bit with Paddy when we went to AMC, Andy Man's Club. They did a great bit about that. But, and then you've got celebrities coming out, left, right and centre, right? Whether they've got a book to sell, or a video to sell, or a music song to sell or something. They're coming out with, oh, I've got a bit of mental health issues, I've got a bit of this, I've got a bit of that. It's almost gone to the point from when I was a kid, when I had my depressive episodes when I was a kid, it wasn't even spoke about. I'm 51 years old, so I'm going back to 6-year-old when I was SA by a babysitter, right? So I'm going back to there. It wasn't talked about, so we didn't say nothing. But now it's almost commonplace to talk about something that's in here. Now that should be a good thing, but I think it's gone a little bit, it's almost gone a little bit too far, because it's almost become a reason, no, not a reason, an excuse to do something. It is a very fine line between not enough information and too much information. But I want to talk to you about self-harm. I've waffled on for 7 minutes already. I'll talk to you about self-harm. If you don't have personal experience of self-harm, and I was to approach you in the street and ask you, what is self-harm? 99.9% of you would go, well, it's cutting, doing chicken scratches that we all did at school anyway, which we didn't even think about, or it's using a lighter, you know, getting your lighter hot and put it on your hand. And they're right. You'd be right in that point. However, that's physical self-harm, right? There's other aspects of being an individual and self-harming yourself. And so you've got that, you've got punching windows, punching mirrors, punching walls, whatever, when something winds you up, right? So you hurt yourself. Because like I say, I smack a window, cut my hand open, boom, I think about that, and what's in my head goes away for at least 10, 15 minutes till I sort the cut out. But there's other ways. And these ways are less detectable unless you know it. And these are things like, this becomes very personal to me. There's things like, so I like my Adidas trainers, right? So if I'm in either a manic mood or a depressive mood, or my bipolar borderline is taken over, and I've got 70 quid in the bank, I'll go buy, and that's going to last me a month, I'll go buy a pair of £65 trainers. What I've done there is self-harm myself by not having enough money to function for the rest of the month. A little bit like if my rent's due, and I'm in a, like I say, headspace, and I've got me 350 quid, 390 quid rent, whatever, and it's a weekend, the rent doesn't go out over a weekend, it goes out on the Monday. I'm like, oh, do you know what's in my bank? I'll go spend 20 quid. 20 quid on the Friday, 20 quid on the Saturday, 50 quid on the Saturday, 20 quid on the Sunday. I'm almost £100 down on my rent. That's self-harm, because that puts me in a dangerous situation. The whole point about self-harm is you put yourself in a dangerous situation. There's other ways. I'll go to a pub. Now, when I had a partner, it'd be a case of I'd go to the pub and I'd flirt with somebody at the bar. If this wasn't working, if this space wasn't working, I'd flirt with somebody at the bar, knowing that my partner was sat on the seats up the steps, pissed off to fuck with me, so I was going to go home and was going to argue. It's putting myself in a dangerous situation. Or the other way is, in the same sort of scenario, is knowing seeing a bird at the bar, knowing she's got a boyfriend or a husband or something who's bigger than me, which isn't hard because I'm only 5'6" and a bit, 5'7", depending on whether I slouch or not, right? And I think, do you know what? My head's in a fucked up state. That bird's pretty. I'm going to chat her up. What do I run the risk of? I run the risk of her partner twatting me. So it might not be me self-harming personally, but it's me self-harming in a mental kind of way. Much like going to the football and being a cunt. I'm 51-year-old. I got banned from the football 2.5 years ago, so I was 48 and a bit, or 49, right? Because I was a cunt. Because I'm like the big Billy Bollocks, me. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll be at the front of it, whatever, do you know what I mean? Or just being in town and just being obnoxious to the old Bill, or the PCSOs that are walking around town, and put myself in a dangerous situation. And it all comes from a bad head state. All those things are the same thing as me cutting. Because when I cut, now I'm not being clever. This isn't me being clever. And I hope if some of you that have started to subscribe and have seen my other video, if you understand, right, when I cut, if I cut crossways, right, like that, wherever I go, I'm not committing suicide. But the minute I decide to go that way, that makes it more, well, not more likely, but more probable that there's a not suicide as such, but there's a more probable chance that I'm going to put myself in a dangerous situation of cutting an artery and bleeding out, especially if I'm on my own. So when you see somebody with a couple of scars, when you see somebody out, and you will see them, right? You've got to think why they're doing these things. What's putting them in these places? And instead of looking down on somebody, and there's nothing you could particularly say to them. There's not now you could particularly go up to somebody and say, oh, don't do that. Definitely don't say that. Don't do that. That's stupid. Because that's just going to make them feel shit. I know when I've caught and people said, that's a stupid thing to do, I've gone home and I'm like, oh, now my mates think I'm stupid. So I'll dig a little bit deeper. But, see, I digress. My head, I've told you before, my head's like spaghetti junction. It's all over the place. The point of this was, there's more than one or two ways of self-harming. There's your physical self-harm, which is cutting, punching mirrors and burning. There's a way of self-harming where you put yourself in danger of being evicted by spending money on drink, or spending money on drugs, or spending money on trainers, or spending money on whatever, when you've got bills to pay. And then there's the self-harm when you go out and you've either got a missus and you flirt with somebody, or if you're a girl, you've got a partner. Oh, I'm not even going to go into the whys and wherefores now because it's too complicated, but you've got a partner and you still flirt with somebody and your partner fucks you off. Or there's a time where you're single and you see somebody at the bar that you fancy, or for some, not even necessarily fancy, but for in that particular moment, you're attracted to, because you know if you chat that person up, that person's partner's going to probably lap you. Self-harm is way more complicated than a simple cut or than a lighter. I don't know what I expect you to take from this video. In fact, I probably don't even expect you. Sorry, I've still got them cuts on my tongue. I've chipped 2 teeth now. So that's obviously medicinal. I don't even expect you to take anything from it. I just don't. I would just like people to realise that if they see a news story about somebody self-harming, or they know somebody that's classed as a self-harmer, right, that they don't just think, oh, that person's not got a scar on him, he's not got a bear mark on him, he's not self-harming, or she's not self-harming. Because there's a myriad of ways of self-harming. A lot of it is mental and physical torture. You torture yourself. The physical side of it, it's dead easy. Smack a window, smack a mirror, punch the wall, headbutt a wall, whatever. But there's other ways of doing it. Anyway, that's a completely different piece of bullshit to what I normally talk about. And I'll probably lose. I think I've got up to 72 subscribers. I'll probably lose a few off this because it's a bit mental, for want of a better phrase. But as always, people, stay safe. Look after each other. Look after your friends. Look after your relatives, your neighbours and your elders, right? Look after people that, maybe even look after people that you don't really know, but you see them on their own, sat on a bench. Or you see them just walking up and down all the time. Maybe just, do you know, sometimes if you just say to a person walking past, oh mate, and just walk on, that can make a massive world of difference to that person. Because somebody's noticed him or her. Because sometimes when you're in this mindset and you're walking and you've got your headphones on, or like me, or you've got a beer in your hand or whatever, people go, oh, it's like, it just makes it more and more, what word do I want? Obvious that you're a piece of shit. So if you see somebody, just, even if it's just out on a bench, just go, all right, mate, how you doing? Just give somebody a bit of chance. Give somebody a bit of time, yeah? Excuse me. So look after yourself. Stay loud and proud about being where we are. Let's sort our shit out, right, yeah? And I'm going to leave this now and I'm going to go back to my usual shit in the morning. Peace.